welcome to another episode of Gambia Beat. This is actually one of my favorite episodes, as it not only highlights the variety of what the Gambia has to offer as a tourism destination, but it also looks at the work of two remarkable individuals involved in conservation. One in the conservation of Gambian culture, the other in the conservation of the Gambian environment and wildlife. Enjoy Gambia Beat.
Tourism industry in the Gambia has rapidly developed. As you probably know, we've been in tourism for more than 40 years. And now we also have another category, which is the eco-tourism facilities. And these are offering not just entertainment, but they also offer our guests the pristine and beautiful natural aspects of the Gambia.
Tangier Village Museum was created in 1979 when I decided to take up an early retirement from government to set up this museum. And I must say it is the first private museum in this country. The main reason of setting up this museum is that at a time there was only one national museum located in Banjul, and I thought it would have been better if you could have other museums in other parts of the country, and I decided to choose Tangier as one of the places. Tangier Village Museum has contributed a lot. In the first place, all the staff of this museum are Gambians, and I've provided them with job opportunity. Secondly, we've got some artists here who are also self-employed under Tangier Village Museum administration. And thirdly, we also provide safe drinking water for the villagers, and also some wood, firewood, because as you can see for yourself, we've got a mini forest here. Sometimes when we trim down our trees, villagers come here to get some wood. And secondly, Tangier Village Museum has got some environmental education built into this museum. And we happen to get a lot of international students as well as Gambian students who are interested to know more about the environment as well as the culture. The main aim and objective of this museum is to put the entire Gambia under one roof in terms of culture and environment. For example, what you will be able to see in the museum here is a very good representation of what you would have seen if you had traveled all over the country. All the ethnic groups are represented, and also the environment is being represented as well, because we've got some species of plants that you cannot find in other parts of the country, or you can find them in other parts of the country, but they are not available in this part of the country. So we decided to bring them here, to sort of conserve them, because as you know, deforestation is a very serious problem in this country. And for that matter, protecting and preserving plants cannot be overemphasized. We have also got a book called The Nature Trail that tells people about the use of these plants in traditional medicine, their food values, etc. This is very, very important, because lots of people do not tend to respect the importance of plants, and they cause a lot of bushfires, felling down trees. But if they know the importance of these trees, they'll be much, much careful about the environment. So that's the whole essence of trying to protect and also giving as much information about these plants. My aim and objective is preserving the Gambian culture, which I feel is very, very, very important in our national development.
nature in the Gambia has been protected for many years. So that really, even though we happen to be in the Sahel belt, still the Gambia is quite green and it's beautiful. Again, that was a deliberate policy of government since the First Republic with the 1977 Banjul Declaration, which protected the flora and fauna. And after that, you know, the Wildlife Act, I think of 2000 or 2001, reinforced that. The River Gambia in itself is quite historical. And also, you know, on the river we also have several uninhabited islands, beautiful islands as well. But one of them is a protected area, and this is where we house the Chimpanzee Rehabilitation Project. And these chimpanzees have been integrated, you know, back to their natural habitat. And I think that's also a very unique phenomenon of the Gambia.
This is the first part of the journey, crossing the estuary from Banjul to Barra on the ferry, and I believe this ferry is called Barra. Once we get to the other side, we will join our vehicle, which crossed much earlier this morning. My expertise is conservation and wildlife, and I've looked after the Chimpanzee Project here for the past 27 years at River Gambia National Park, Baboon Island. During the middle years, I was coming and going an awful lot because I had to juggle family responsibilities, fundraising, husband, etc., as well as supervise and manage the Chimpanzee Project. But as of 2000, my family responsibilities diminished. My children are off my hands now, and I was able to concentrate more on the development of the Chimpanzee Project and making it financially self-sustaining. Up until now, every single cent that we've used to protect the park, to look after the chimps, has been raised through fundraising, specifically through an adoption scheme that we run. However, to do that from the Gambia is extraordinarily difficult, and we need up to £50,000 a year to operate, which is roughly a little bit over $2 million. To raise those sorts of funds from this distance is very, very difficult. Therefore, I came up with the idea of opening up the project, which till now has been strictly a research project and closed to ad hoc visitors or tourists. Decided to try and open this up just a little bit for very limited, high value, low volume tourism, in order to try and generate the income we need to be able to sustain this project and to further develop the national park in which these chimpanzees live. We also hope, well, although I thought that would take care of the financial side of things, I didn't think that the chimpanzees or the national park had any future really if they weren't of some direct benefit to the local communities that live around here. So the visitor facility will also help us, I hope, with the development projects that we've set up to make this project and the national park of some direct benefit to the local community. That is our agricultural project, the horse and donkey, the school, the clinic, and garden projects. So we hope to open a workshop, etc. So Badi Mayo, as we've called the visitor facility, Badi Mayo, if you pronounce it properly, means river monkeys in Fula, was set up directly to generate the income that we require to operate the Chimpanzee Project and to develop the national park, or to continue protecting the national park in which these chimpanzees live. Yes, when I said high value, low volume, we really cannot afford to have too many visitors here. Basically because I think that would jeopardize the dignity of the chimpanzees. This is a very fragile ecosystem, and heavy traffic through here would very quickly degenerate and degrade it. also our communities here are made up of rural and naive communities, which I think would be at great risk of being damaged culturally and traditionally by high volume tourism. But I believe the situation we have here, because we are very privileged to have the chimpanzees, and watching chimpanzees in the wild, in a wild setting now is so difficult and rare and expensive to do. I believe the chimps are our answer to being able to attract here visitors who would be prepared to pay for the privilege of seeing them. That is high value, low volume tourism. At present we employ almost 20 people. The actual project began in 1969 with the arrival of the first chimp. Up until November 2002 we were known as the Chimpanzee Project, but actually we registered ourselves as a legal entity in the Gambia in November 2002 and became the Chimpanzee Rehabilitation Association, or the CRA then, to look after and protect chimpanzees, these chimpanzees in particular, in the River Gambia National Park. They're important to me personally, as I know each one of them individually, and they're wonderful characters. The chimpanzees as a species is endangered now. They are extraordinarily intelligent creatures, and until I met a chimp, I had a wealth of experience looking after wild animals such as porcupines, bush pigs, baby hyenas, even a young lion. And I considered myself pretty experienced, but when I was first handed a baby chimpanzee, that was something else again. I was completely unprepared for that, and it was like meeting E.T. That's all I can say, really, like meeting a very primitive person. The sort of emotions it elicited in me were very, very strong. Obviously, it had to be very strong because they carried me all the way through my life. On this island, for a variety of reasons, they get fed every day. But the other groups get fed every 2 days, and the reason for feeding is basically so we can monitor. But when we do feed, we have to feed enough, because you do not want to create a situation where where you're creating competition or inciting aggression. And if you don't feed enough when you do feed, that is exactly what you'll do. They all know now that if bread falls in the water, or if one of them gets to a piece of food first, then there is more coming, and there's no need to fight over it. The one picking up the peanuts now is Jesus. This one is Stella, next to Kumba Jallo, and next to her is her daughter Stephanie. Stella, who was called Stella before she came, is reaching over to pick up something out of the water, probably some groundnuts floating in. That's old Papoose there, who's 40 years old. He's one of the original chimps from Abuko. Papoose. And Kit. And Boo. Kit only has one eye. She was confiscated in Schiphol Airport, Holland. 8 little chimps were coming from Sierra Leone en route for Mexico, to a laboratory in Mexico, and they were confiscated. And the Dutch government contacted me and my father, Mr. Brewer, and asked us if we would take them and rehabilitate them. Jiao is over there. Today they have had sweet corn, sweet potatoes, groundnuts, mangoes, bread. Well, I think I've been so lucky having the opportunity to gain a lifetime's insight into the chimps, which very, very few other people have had the opportunity to do. So if I have been privileged to share the lives of the chimpanzees, I feel it's almost a moral obligation that I make sure I use that insight to protect these very endangered and wonderful creatures. If there are 250,000 chimps left in the wild, we will be lucky. I was very honoured to accept the medal. It was a wonderful surprise, but I believe I accepted it on behalf of many other people. There are some very patriotic and wonderful Gambian nationals who have also contributed a great deal to the success we're enjoying now. So accepting that medal I was accepting on behalf of an awful lot of other people. And of course the chimps, we must not forget them. None of this would have been possible without them, that's for sure. So yes, it's nice to have been given this medal, but it's an honor I picked up for many other people as well.
Thank you for watching Gambia Beat. I hope you, like me, enjoyed this very fascinating episode. See you next time on Gambia Beat. Goodbye.